What's going on, guys? Hope you guys are having an awesome day. I'm currently 3.5 weeks out from stepping on stage, and man, I feel so damn good. Hunger is starting to kick in a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. The other day I woke up with some hunger pain. My stomach was twisting and turning, a little bit, but it is what it is. That's part of the process. Feeling that hunger, it makes me feel alive, right? It makes me feel alive. It makes me feel like I know what I'm doing is working, because like I always say, guys, calories in versus calories out. You got to be in a deficit of calories to burn body fat. If you want to get shredded, you got to be in a deficit. And what does that mean? You got to eat less than what your body needs to sustain itself. So you're bound to get hungry, right? Yeah, there's a few things you can do, like eat more voluminous foods, right? Like more fruits and vegetables. Eat foods that are lower in calories, but that fill you up more. Like that's a really good approach to dieting, and I highly recommend it to most. But when it comes to contest prep, number one, regardless of what you eat, you're going to feel hungry, because once you get down to a certain body fat percentage, your body starts to fight back, right? And not only that, but when you're on contest prep, you can't eat those foods. They're like, for example, if I weren't on contest prep and I were to just be dieting, right? I'd be having like low calorie bread, maybe some like wraps. I like having like protein ice cream, like blending up frozen fruits with whey protein, almond milk, and fluffing it up. But when it comes to dieting for a show, you want to make sure your stomach stays super flat, right? And you can't vary your diet too much, because if you add in too many variables, right, then a lot of things can go wrong. So a lot of the foods that I'm having, I don't incorporate a lot of those high voluminous foods. Like I'm eating things like white rice. White rice is not very voluminous. I can eat a shit ton of white rice and go way over my calories, and it won't fill me up much, compared to, say, low calorie wraps, right? Low calorie wraps, or having a ton of vegetables. Like that's another thing. If I were typically, when I'm dieting outside of contest prep, if I just want to get lean, maybe I'm doing a mini cut sometime during the off season, I'll just start incorporating more salads, right? I can eat a lot of vegetables, fill up my stomach, and it'll be low in calories, right? But you don't want to do that when you're prepping for a show, because you don't want to expand your stomach too much, and you don't want to slow down digestion. You want to make sure digestion stays super consistent. And especially now, I'm 3.5 weeks out, it's just going to get even more strict. I'm going to have to be even more consistent and stay more on point. There's no way throughout this whole prep I haven't manipulated my foods whatsoever. But having things like diet soda, I can't have that 2 weeks out, because, not that I'm going to get fat from it. You're not going to get fat from drinking 0 calorie drinks, but the carbonation and the artificial sweeteners can definitely mess with your digestion. It can bloat you. It can cause you to retain water, especially when you're like sub 10% body fat, So, yeah, just a little food for thought. Super excited for this workout. Super excited for today. Taking this prep one day at a time. 3.5 weeks out, it's like you're super close yet super far. It's weird. It's a weird feeling. I know the 3 weeks are gonna go by super fast. 3 weeks is still a good amount of time. Um, a lot of progress can be made. A lot of mistakes can be made. So make sure we don't do any of those mistakes, right? But I just got to stay focused. And today I'm on my way to train back. I'm definitely going to be focusing on, I'm probably going to hit a little bit of everything. Like, I'm thinking of doing like 2 rowing exercises, 2 pull down exercises, and biceps, maybe a little bit of rear delts and medial delts, right? I always like to hit my delts when I train upper body, just because I feel like your shoulders can take up a lot of frequency, right? Like, what I mean by frequency is you can train them frequently throughout the week. You know, I saw the most improvements on my shoulders when I started training them 3 times a week. And the way I would do that, I would just add in like 3 or 4 sets of either lateral raises or rear delt raises, rear delt flies. And each time I would train any muscle in my upper body. So for example, say Monday I'm training chest, I'm gonna throw in a little bit of lateral raises in there, right? And today I'm training back, I'm probably gonna throw in a little bit of lateral raises and rear delts, right? It just makes sense to hit your rear delts when you're training back, because when you're rowing, you're activating that rear delt back here. So might as well finish it off with more rear delt flies, right? Same thing when my second push day, right? I incorporate a little bit of chest, but there it's primarily shoulder focused. So overhead pressing movements, upright rows, lateral raises, and things like that. So that's the third time that I hit my shoulders, right? Typically on my second back day, I don't hit shoulders too much. Depends how I'm recovered from my shoulder workout, the last shoulder workout. So yeah, I'm following like a push legs pull split. So I do push, right? So chest, shoulders, triceps, legs, right? Primarily like quad focus. I still hit a little bit of hamstrings. Pull, right? Back, which is today. Then tomorrow I'm training push, right? So it's gonna be shoulder focused. I might film that workout, but it's primarily shoulder focused. And so that's my second push day. And then legs again, primarily hamstring focused, and then back for the second time. So pull. And there on my second back day, I like to focus a little bit on width on my lats, right? You can never go wrong with a wider back and a thicker back, so come to think of it, I think like I need to work more on width, right? I have a good thickness, like the middle of my back really is really well defined, right? I have a lot of size there. I think I need to put on more width, so I might actually be focusing on width today. But either way, here I got some pre-workout, right? Just for those of you that don't know, right? I am affiliated by HTLT, Harder Than the Last Time Supplements by Greg Doucette. Say what you want about Greg Doucette. He's super knowledgeable, right? He could be annoying sometimes, and his supplements are very high quality, right? I've never been sponsored by a company, right? I decided to be affiliated by HTLT. I'm not really an athlete, I'm just, again, affiliated. So if you use my link, you get, it helps me out, right? And another really good supplement company I like is Gorilla Mind. Gorilla Mind, their supplements are amazing. I actually just bought some of their pre-workout. It's on their way. So there's various different supplement companies I like. The only one I'm really affiliated with is HTLT, and they're great. The ingredients are great. The pre-workout always kicks in. It hits me very well. It has some beta alanine. That's the one thing that I like more about HTLT's pre-workout than Gorilla Mind, is that they have beta alanine in it. If you like beta alanine, I personally like that itchy feeling, and at the same time, I personally like to do a lot of cardio too, especially now that I'm in prep. And Beta alanine helps with your endurance, right? So you get a little bit more endurance for your cardio. You recover better between sets. So that's the difference between HTLT and Gorilla Mind. But you can always add in, you know, if you do decide to go with Gorilla Mind, you can always add in beta alanine. You'll be fine. But I'm gonna sip on this pre-workout, train back, and see you at the gym. First set, T-bar rows. Started with no weight, did like 10, 15 reps. Put a plate, did like 8 reps. Another plate, 8 reps. 3 plates, 8 reps. That was my first set, 4 plates. If you guys have heard the song Time by Hans Zimmer and the song Inception, man, the song gets me amped up. Let's do this. Champion reps right here. Champion reps. Come on, man. So I decided to add a 22-pound on top of the 4 plates because I did 15. You know, trying to aim between the 8 to 12 rep range. And my technique was solid. So, you know, sometimes even though it feels heavy, that's why I love filming, because even though it feels heavy, it's still moving good. So it's almost like I have a second eye. The camera's my second eye. Then I subjectively look at the film and I make a judgment call. But right here, I did another 25, trying to get no less than 8. Here we go. Last set here, this weight. From here, I'm gonna do 1 drop set. Then we're gonna move on to the next exercise. Oh, come on. Fuck. Trying to push it on that set. But one thing about this shit, all this bodybuilding, strength training, you won't know your limits till you push to your limits. So don't be scared to push yourself. Even if your form breaks down a little bit, you know, I'm still keeping my core tight, trying my best not to swing. But if I'm sacrificing form a little bit to push my limits, it's okay. You know, that's a little bit more of an advanced tip. Okay? You know, I've been doing this for a very long time, so I know when I'm pushing a little bit too far and my form is breaking down too much. But don't be scared to push your limits a little bit, even if you sacrifice a little bit of form. You know, and if you feel like, if you look back, maybe you film yourself and you see that your form is breaking down too much, then you know you went too heavy. And most importantly, make sure you're feeling the muscle. Like my lats are pumped right now. I know I'm working my muscles, the right muscles. So it's not like I'm just moving the weight. You know, if you're moving the weight and you're swinging and you're not feeling the muscles that you're trying to target, then yeah, it's too heavy. I'm gonna drop down to 3 plates and hit it again. Drop set. Really try to emphasize this pump right now. Get the blood in there, Josh. Let's go. So guys, decided to do a voiceover for the rest of the workout just because the audio was pretty horrible. But pretty much after the T-bar rows, I moved on to underhand lat pull downs. And this exercise, I absolutely love using that easy bar attachment just because the easy bar attachment feels more natural on my palms. And I feel like I can really like almost think about splitting the bar apart, and it helps to get a really nice contraction on my lower lat. All right, so really highly recommend when you do this exercise, try to use that underhand pull down. Here I worked up to a top set of I believe either 180 or 200 pounds. You know, I currently weigh 190, so a benchmark that I try to recommend people to, you know, to reach for when it comes to lat pull downs is try to pull your body weight, guys. Like, you want to be able to pull your body weight because that's similar to doing pull-ups, right? So ideally, if you can pull your body weight, then you can do pull-ups. So, you know, and pull-ups is a great standard for strength, right? So after I did my second top set, I dropped roughly 50%, then pushed it to failure, right? And ideally for the drop sets, you don't want to get any more than like 8 to 12 reps. If you're getting more than 8 to 12 reps, then most likely you didn't push yourself with your last top set, right? From there, I moved on to this low row from Panada. You know, this machine is amazing to hit your upper traps. I wouldn't say upper traps, like mid traps. You know, it really helps with that upper back thickness. So I did this for 2 sets, 2 plates, and then I dropped roughly 50%. I dropped it down to 1 plate. And pay attention to the handles too. They're like swivel handles. You know, a really good exercise to replace for this machine is barbell bent over rows, right? If you look at the path of where I'm pulling the weight, I'm pulling it almost towards my belly button as if I'm doing like a bent over barbell row. All right, so if for some reason you don't have this machine, right, which I know it can be pretty hard to find, right? You can always swap it out for barbell rows. All of these machines, you can swap it out for any kind of like free weight exercise. All right, so here you see me on my second top set. It was a drop set. I dropped roughly 50%, right, which is essentially just 1 plate on each side. Then I got right back on the machine. And one thing I want you to notice also is my wrist straps. Like, I'm not using it here, but if you're truly serious about making some back gains, I highly recommend you invest in wrist straps. The brand that I really enjoy using is Versa grips, you know, because they're easy to use, right? And they give you a lot of support and a lot of grip, right? From there, guys, I moved on to bicep curls, preacher curls. I believe I did 3 sets from 10 to 15 reps. Sometimes for these, I even go upwards to 20. I just try to make sure that I hit failure, right? But if you're hitting roughly like 20 reps, right, I think it's time to bump up the weight. And, you know, I even like to throw in some partials too, like a couple partials at the end. And I superset that with machine lateral raises. And again, if you don't have this machine, you can always use dumbbells, okay? But one thing to note is even on back days, I hit a little bit of medial delts just because that's kind of a weak point of mine. So I try to hit it roughly 3 times per week. An easy way to grow a muscle, guys, is simply increase the frequency that you hit it per week. If you want to grow your shoulders, try hitting it 2, maybe even 3 times per week. And just with that, I got a pretty solid pump. Okay, so really enjoyed doing that machine. From there, I moved on to rope twist curls. So very important for this machine, for this exercise, you want to lean back. All right, lean back and make sure that your arms or your biceps are stretched out. All right. If I get too close to the machine, then the weight will rest, right? So I try to walk the weight out a little bit and really have my biceps stretched. And when I come up, I try to twist as hard as I can and squeeze, all right? Twist my palms up towards the ceiling. Right here, I'm kind of fatiguing, so I'm just getting partials, which is totally fine. And I'm supersetting this with rope upright rows. So here I bump up the weight, and the same thing, lean back and make sure your shoulders are fully stretched in the bottom. And here I'm just pumping it out. Depending on what exercise I do, I like controlling the negative, and others I like just pumping it. This is more like of a pumping exercise where I'm trying to pump the rear delts with as much blood as I can, okay? And here, I believe this is my last set, so I did a drop set. I dropped roughly 30%, and then again, pushed to failure and even got a few partials at the end. So, highly recommend you try this out. My shoulders are still burning from that shoulder workout, and just 2 exercises. I got a pretty solid pump. The lighting is also crazy. They add these curtains so it makes it look darker, so you stand out more. So this gym is amazing. Empire Gym in Miami. If you guys are in the area, you guys must check it out. State-of-the-art equipment, posing room. It's like bodybuilder heaven. Bodybuilding heaven. But, geez, my arms are super pumped right now. But practice a little bit of my posing. Show you guys how I'm looking. Just rip my shirt, and I really like the shirt. But 4 weeks out, or 3.5 weeks out, I should say. I'm looking. My front pose. So just so you guys have an idea of how drenched I get after cardio, look, this shirt is soaking wet. I have to do this every time after I do cardio. That's called sweat equity right there. Man, it's so crazy. When I'm dieting, I smell everything. Like someone is making like lasagna around here and I can smell it. Makes me very hungry. I've been craving so much food. Like, I've wanted pizza for the past like 2-3 months, but can't think of that right now. Gotta think of the show, gotta stay focused, you know. Celebrate after the show. And that's maybe because I may be going to nationals, so then after the show, which is 3.5 weeks from now, I might have to stay on prep for like another 4 weeks. It really depends how good I do on the national qualifying show, but we'll see. So yeah, guys, that was my workout. I did 35 minutes of elliptical, as you saw. I come out drenched, right? And that's why it's important to have your water and electrolytes, not just water, because if you're just drinking water without all the electrolytes, you can possibly dehydrate yourself even more. You know, the electrolytes like the magnesium, potassium, sodium, that helps your body retain the water. All right, so really good electrolyte powder I like is from this brand called Relight. Well, not the brand, the name of the supplement is called Relight. I think the company, it's called Redmond Salt or something like that, but they have this product called Relight. You can find it on Amazon. It's worked wonders. Like, I don't have any cramps, any headaches ever, you know, just because I drink enough water and electrolytes. And it's so funny, like, there's like an ongoing meme, right, where, you know, I've seen it on TikTok where girls say they have like a headache, and guys, you know, the go-to thing is like, hey, drink some water, right? And it's hilarious, but it's true. A lot of girls, especially, I don't know why they neglect their water intake. But yeah, like I was saying, there's like an ongoing meme where girls just refuse to drink water and they stay having headaches. So, super funny. But either way, drink your electrolytes, prevent any cramping, and also hydration is the #1 factor that contributes to poor performance. About to go home. I'm gonna have my post-workout meal: 2 rice cakes, 8 grams of honey, a scoop of whey protein, and after that I have like a no carb meal, you know, which is kind of sad. You know, it's just salmon, olive oil, and 2 ounces of veggies. And I'm super pumped for the next few days because my carbs are going to be a bit higher. You know, I've been depleting the last 3 days, somewhat depleting. My carbs haven't been completely stripped away, but they've been lowered, and I have 1 meal with no carbs, but it's working. That's what it takes to get lean, to get tight, you know. So I'll catch you on the next video.